Hey, welcome to a new Project Kamp update. So, in the previous video you could see us working on a very sketchy rune with a wall that is about to fall. It's still standing, but in today's video we're actually going to reinforce it. We bought some wood, the van is completely overloaded, it's very solid, strong wood. And we're going to make a frame inside that should keep everything together, so we got one super solid rune in the end. Let's see. So the roof rack is a little bit bended here, which is not a problem, there's only a solar panel underneath to catch the wood. Coming! So before we start building, let me show you the current status of this beautiful orange creature. So last time we rebuilt the outer wall, and at this point it's very fragile, it's still standing but very weak. And we notice nothing inside this rune is straight. Well, let me show you. So here you can see a beam against the wall, it's pretty straight, and then it just goes very curved. Here's the line of the wall. And here's the end. So making a frame in a house is going to be quite a challenge because really nothing is 90 degrees and the whole walls are bended. So here you can see, for instance, an angle. I can just put my finger in here, even though it's 90 degree here. And this wall itself is also completely curved. And the width here is more than the width there. So, and the height is higher there than here. So on all sides the whole angles are very hard to make a 3D model out of it. So I think a lot of it's gonna be just measuring, putting it up, putting it down, measuring it again, cutting it, measuring, cutting, measure, cutting, until we can make it fit. Custom made. And we tried to make a 3D model out of this rune in SketchUp. Small side note, we actually did a vote in Discord to see which 3D software would be best. Winners were Blender, SketchUp and 360 Fusion, so we'll be using those to document our things. Anyway, 3D model is useful, but hard to match with reality. So it will be an ongoing effort of drawing, measuring, fitting, back to drawing, measuring and fitting. So yeah, let's get started. First thing, prepare the floor. So before we're going to install the wooden beams, we need to level the floor a bit because there's a lot of stuff and uneven things on here to make sure it's flat. And also while we're at it, we're going to try to make a little bit of a gutter here because in the winter we're probably going to have condensation coming from this outer wall if we're going to heat up the inside, and it's going to drip down, and if we don't do anything it would fade in here. But we're going to try to curve a little bit of a channel in the floor, because then the water is distributed, and the upside of the rune that is not completely leveled is that it would all flow to that corner. So just a little channel, make sure all the condensation goes out as well. Hammer time! Alright, so the floor is ready, now it's time to build. So next we're going to make a wooden frame inside that carries the load of the roof and holds everything together.
So before we're gonna put up the beam in the ruin, we're gonna sand them and oil them to make sure that they last long. Purpose to live in the house, so...
What was the last part?
I don't know, it's like you wanna live in the house, so you gotta make sure that it stays. Because you don't wanna get some mildew in your beams.
Right, so we have the wood oiled, the floor is cleaned, so now it's time for assembly. So we're going to put this frame up on the bottom and then we're going to lift it up and then we will continue to build out the frame and keep measuring all the weird angles. And we got Colleen for some extra power. Does this feel doable? So it's currently middle of the day, but it's super hot. So we just put up the 3 beams and we need to continue. So we're gonna try a thing where we're gonna wake up at 6, work in the morning, and in the afternoon we take a chill. Because it's hot. Nap. Waterfall. How old is it?
Morning. It's 33 now, but I think in 4 days it's gonna be 41. So no can do construction.
No can do construction. You ready?
Yes. Okay.
You like the mornings?
Why are you filming now? You're killing me, man.
It's very nice actually starting early. It's still fresh and cool, there's a fog hanging in the valley, and slowly the sun is rising and it's getting warmer. So now we can continue to build up the frame. So Colleen is now finishing up oiling the last beams. Now we're going to build that side of the ruin, which is actually going to be way more difficult. This was sort of the straight part, but here's a big curve in. There it's lower on that side than on that side. That corner is not 90 degrees but less. So this is going to be a more challenging part. We're experienced now, right?
Yes, so.
we're now going to put on our highest point beam. We're full of energy, beams are super light, should be easy. Alright, so we have a challenge here. All the beams are now on the roof, which is cool, except for the last one we're doubting. And mainly all the beams are now perpendicular to each other, except for the last one, because the last one follows the wall. But let me show you. So this beam is now perfectly over the wall, but yeah, not perpendicular to these ones anymore, which makes it look a bit weird. And as you can see on the outside, this beam is sticking out a lot, like a meter more than that. And the main reason is because this wall is just not under the right angle. It's not 90 degrees, it should be more like this. But that's not the case. So the question now is whether we should change that beam the same as the other ones, perpendicular, or we keep putting it under an angle so it's above the wall and it's easier to close everything. So that's the question. Colleen here made a nice pro and con list.
So this, the crooked one, like it already is, that means less work for everything except for the insulation. Okay? And the other one, if we put everything straight, it's less work for everything except for the wall construction and the fact that we need to move it again. So in the end, we must really think whether it's more trouble for us to work on the insulation if it's crooked, or to work on the wall if it's straight. That's the question. I think it's harder to put them straight, but it's maybe better.
Realistically, we don't really know, I think. So we're gonna have a screw decide. If it falls in that direction, we go perpendicular. If it falls in that direction, we go for the angle. Is that okay for you?
Shoot.
Like now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Take it more towards me.
It looks like really in the middle. Okay.
What do we say?
It goes through you.
So to me would be the crooked one angled, right?
After we solved that crucial issue with this extreme professional screw method, we just let the beam how it was, not perpendicular to the other beams, but fitting above the wall. Not sure if this will make sense in the long term or would get us more in trouble, but let's see. Anyway, meanwhile the heat wave arrived in Project Kamp and things started to become a bit weird. How's it going?
Good. I was thinking about sanding, because we're sanding near sand. So sanding could be any activity that you do near sand.
Sanding. Yeah, not sure what was going on, but at some point Colleen started talking weird stuff like this, so we figured maybe we're overheating. I mean, there was a heat wave going on, so yeah, maybe time for a break.
So, since you might have realized, it's summer here in Portugal. Usually summer is nice, cause it's warm and sunny and you can eat ice cream. But here in Portugal it can get a bit intense. And if I'm saying intense, I mean more insane. This week is by far the hottest we had here in Kamp. At 9 in the morning it's already 30 degrees Celsius plus. And till afternoon it climbs then easily till 44. As you might imagine, activities like cooking, laptop work, video making, or just existing become more and more an act of survival in these temperatures. You need to get creative if you don't want to get cooked like a lobster. But even then it's more suffering than anything else. So we decided to have a break and take a ride to Rio Dao, a beautiful river located close to Project Kamp, with big boulders and nice water to cool ourselves down and have a lunch. Later, when it's a bit less hot, we're gonna continue with construction work. Okay guys, where are we right now?
The River Dow.
Why are we here?
To cool down in the nice water
Sounds good.
and eat lunch.
Just keep telling you so one day inside.
Did you bring your boat?
Alright, so it's now end of the day, we're refreshed and now we can do some cement work also because the heat is gone. And what we want to do now is, since we built the frame, to build back up the wall here, and this is really going to connect the straight wooden frame with the very wobbly brick wall, but it should make everything super tight and straight. Not straight, just tight. And we also added these metal rods here on each corner of the beam with a plug on the outside. So it would build back the wall, these would be cemented in, and then later we can tighten them, really to make sure it's one solid, strong piece. So ideally after this, it should feel really good. We also put in a few metal rods here, that once we build up the wall, it doesn't slide off, it stays in place. Alright, so the wall here is now done, and that one partially as well. Still a lot of other walls to go. It's going to be an ongoing process. Takes quite long, especially with the heat as well. But we'll continue to work on it. So yeah, make sure to subscribe if you already want to see the next video. Or support on Patreon actually, you can already see the next video 1 week ahead. Anyway, we'll just continue working, share the updates here. Thank you for watching, see you next time.
Can you see that I'm so red on the camera?
Maybe. Why are you red?
Because it's very hot. Today is the hottest day of the world.
We have a yellow beam, a green background and a red colline.
Yes. It's Jamaica moment. In the construction industry, they call me the lobster.
Sometimes I think you're not aware that this could be broadcasted to hundreds of thousands of people, the things you say.
But it's only people in the States now.
Your mom might be watching.
My mom is probably watching because I sent her the link.
Mm.